She has 8 years of rich experience in teaching, presently working as a political science teacher in Jamia Senior Secondary School. She has a postgraduate degree in human rights and history and has expertise in writing poetry and is a co-author of anthology Do It From Love, Not For Love. She was recognized for being the first Indian to recite poetry on the East London radio station. Adding to her achievements, she also writes for the Times of India on contemporary topics encompassing social, cultural, and political aspects. She has successfully influenced the readers with her articulation and thoughtful insight. I invite Sayyida Sabah Rizvi Saiba to present her paper.
Assalamu everyone. I'm very thankful to Hazrat ma'am and the organization for inviting me here. And the topic for discussion here is Hazrat Zainab, the messenger of Karbala, a timeless role model for humanity. Karbala wasn't just an event, but a lesson of sacrifice, morality, loyalty, patience, and courage. But one thing that transcended the events of Karbala was a woman's voice. Had it not been her, Karbala would have been shrouded in mystery. Had it not been her, nobody would have known what happened 1400 years back, and how meaningful and significant the sacrifice of Imam Hussain was for Islam and humanity. She was none other than Zainab bint Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hussein's sister, who stood by him all through and took on his message after his martyrdom in Karbala. वादा करती हूँ कि जिस राह पे जाऊंगी मैं, उसके हर मोड़ पे तारीख बनाऊंगी मैं, कौम को आपका पैगाम सुनाऊंगी मैं, उसकी सोई हुई गैरत को जगाऊंगी मैं, तरबियत याफ्ता ये शाह ज़मन आपकी हूँ, ये समझ लीजिए भैया की बहन आपकी हूँ. The Lady Zainab bint Ali promised her brother Imam Hussain bin Ali after the Battle of Karbala that she would spread his message and she would expose the entire propaganda against him and tell the world that her brother was innocent, who actually fought for the beloved religion of the grandfather Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his principles. After the martyrdom of Imam Hussain in Karbala, his sister Zainab, with ailing Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, along with another sister Kulsum, took upon the duty of leading the arrested client to Yazid's seat of power in Damascus via Kufa, a city in Iraq. Wherever she stopped between Karbala and Damascus, she educated people about who she was and who was Hussain and why was he killed. She carried out the biggest jihad by bringing out the truth about Yazid butchery before the world. After Imam Hussain in Karbala, Yazid propaganda machinery gathered momentum. With the help of the erstwhile media and so-called intellectuals, he misinformed the people of his empire, stretching from Sindh to Africa, that he has killed a group of rebels who were against the state. He even accused Imam Hussain of being a traitor. Very few people in his kingdom knew that it was Hussain, the Prophet's beloved grandson, who was murdered in Karbala. But all nefarious designs of Umayyad tyrant failed in front of Zainab and Zain al-Abidin, both taking the empire of Muawiyah's son head on and telling people who was Hussain. When the Zainabi Karma reached Damascus, where Yazid in front of the thousands of his courtiers taunted her and Zain al-Abidin that look how God has humiliated you, Zainab replied, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. All through the battle of Karbala till date, I have not seen anything except the beauty of God. The reply stunned Yazid and everyone in his court. She gave a powerful sermon which stirred his entire court. The sermon has been a topic of discussion since last 1400 years, and it goes through age. She ignited a fire in the hearts of people, not with a sword, but with her word. She said, By Allah, you cannot remove us from the mind of people, and you cannot fade our message. And you will never reach our glory, and can never wash the stain of this crime from your hands. Your decision will not be stable. Your period of ruling will be short, and your population will scatter. In that day, a voice will shout, Indeed, may the curse of Allah be upon the oppressor. Hazrat Zainab gave the lesson about various roles women can play in their lives. Her contribution towards Islam is priceless and unforgettable. The strength of her submission was divine. Her character reveals that if one knows that one is on a right path, then one should be confident enough to face the world and its consequences. Even every man should allow the women to take stand for them and not discourage them. In a world where women are put down for their gender, she and Imam Zain al-Abidin are an inspiration. Imam did not ever request Hazrat Zainab to step back and do nothing. In fact, he relied on her strength till last and let her lead from the front. Zainab stood strong and firm on her path and kept uttering the lines which nobody could have uttered in such a way. We must all take note of her brave character while raising our children, especially when it comes to our bringing daughters. Zainab bint Ali is a timeless role model for all men and women of the world. She confronted the people of Kufa who betrayed Imam Hussain in Karbala with a powerful sermon which made people remember the eloquence of Father Imam Ali bin Abi Talib. She unapologetically stood up against tyrant and also openly spoke about the gendered nature of violence as she narrates the ways in which Yazid and his armies humiliated the women of Prophet's family. Standing defenseless and having lost all member of the family, she rose amidst ashes of ruin and fearlessly lashed the oppressor. Her lesson can easily be used in the contemporary world regardless of geographical confines and borders of language and religion. She proved her strength of education and presented a case through debate by giving time to others to understand. For a good speaker, two conditions should be there. First, he or she should be out of stress, and the second, that the people listening should have interest in the speaker. The Lady Zainab did not have any of it. Still, she brought tears to the eyes of people present in the court of Yazid and stilled him to the core. This says a lot about her. In such a grim situation, where everything seems to blur, she composed herself and used a language which had the feel and vocabulary of her father. A woman and an ill man in his early 20s who were dragged from Karbala to Kufa and Kufa to Sham demolished the humongous kingdom of Yazid just through her words. Imam Hussain made the biggest sacrifice for upholding the dignity of Islam, but in reality, his message would have been lost in the heat of Karbala if Zainab had not spread it far and wide. This great sacrifice of Imam Hussain is alive today because of his sister's relentless courage. Zainab binti Ali is a model of defiance against oppression and injustice. The great woman, daughter of Hazrat Fatima, who is also called Sania Zehra, the second Fatima, is a model of patience and endurance in every circumstances without compromising with her values. Despite seeing her dear ones killed on a single day of Ashura in Karbala, along with her two sons, she continued her quest. We just get into depression and feel like killing ourselves on small issues, but the Karbala tragedy is the most difficult and the brutal tragedies that might befall any human being. But Lady Zainab remained steadfast and courageous, even in the darkest of hours. Despite being surrounded by soldiers who had just killed her family, she consoled the women and children and protected the Imam, who was ill on the day of Ashura. She even brought him out from the burning tents of Sham-e-Ghariba. Urdu poet late Allama Jamil Mazhiri said about Hazrat Zainab, तहजीब को एक दर से गवारा भी दिया, सैदानियों को सब्र का यारा भी दिया, मक्तल में जो आने लगा बीमार को गर्ज, Zainab ने इमामत को सहारा भी दिया. She is not just important in the context of Islamic history, but also in the context of modern feminist work that aspires to embody a universal humanism. The history of Islam is the history of men and women. That's in stark contrast to what the world tried to portray, that Islam is anti-woman, and here the role of woman is confined to women only. It also reveals that any revolution is impossible without the support of women. It is also vital to be cognizant of the fact that seeking justice and speaking truth to power is the driving force within Islam, and nobody embodies it more than Lady Zainab alayhi salam. This is why the great Urdu poet Allama Muhammad Iqbal said, Hadith-e-ishq da rado baab Karbala wa Damish, Yaqeen Hussain raqam kar digre Zainab. The story of love has two chapters, Karbala and Damascus. One written by Hussain, the other by Zainab. Thank you, everyone.